Hello and welcome to Winterberg in Germany. Viessmann World Cup number 5 for women's bobsleigh as we rush on the road to Sochi, the first European stop on the bobsleigh trail. Hello everybody, I'm Martin Haven, getting ready for the second heat. Alongside me in the booth, bobsleigh legend John Forrest Morgan. And John, after our first run here, the USA looking like a dominant force against their German rivals.
Well, they switched up the brakemen. All three U.S. sleds have the different brakeman setups, but here's our third place sled into the first run. Sandra Curiasis, 39 years old, has to have the perfect drive down the track because she gives up 1500s at the start, and she did that. She put herself in position. She's only 700ths out of a gold medal, and here's her teammate Anja Schneiderheinz, Stephanie Schneider. They get the good starts. They had the second best start, the same as the American Jamie Grubel. And Schneiderheinz, who was the gold medalist as a brakeman in 2006, is starting to make a breakthrough into being the top German driver because she can start the sled. She's 300ths out of the gold medal, and it's going to be pretty interesting second run, and a lot of pressure going to be on this American athlete. Jamie Grubel, her brakeman Aja Evans, great start, 5.59, second best start. But Grubel, who's medaled in all 4 World Cup events in North America, has proven to everybody that she's for real. She posts the best time of the first run. She's the leader, but the top 3 sleds are separated by just 700ths of a second.
Well, and with 0.3 of a second going down to 7th, 8th place, there's a lot of opportunity for movement in the top 10 spots. Maybe 5 or 6 athletes could vie for the podium. 20 sleds went through from our first heat, 2 did not. Rookie from Italy, Caponcelli, and Misha McNeil from Newcastle in the UK. Well, fans young and old, towards the end of the Christmas holidays around this Winterberg track, final preparations for the US team and for everybody else at the top of this Winterberg ice sheet. 1,330 meters, John. It's a fairly easy track to get down, used a lot for learning the sport, but it's very hard to get real speed.
Just ask the American athletes in 4-man who both crashed yesterday, 2 of the 3 U.S. teams, including Steve Holcomb, the World Cup leader. There's Kaylee Humphries, concerned look on her face because she's not in the podium position at the moment. There's Lauren Williams on the left, Jasmine Fenelator on the right. They prepare their runners. They want to get every single little nick out of them runners. There's the Russian athletes and the draw, Martin.
Well, the start list goes from 20 down to 1. Last to fast from the first heat. 20 sleds go through, starting with Vicky Olay from Great Britain, Konstantina Romania, Tamboseva of Russia, and so on. And then we get down, once we're inside the top 10, 11th place is Kathleen Martini, a winner here 2 years ago. Once we get into the top 10, anyone in the top 6 or 7 positions could easily take a medal. We saw sleds coming up from the teens into single-digit positions in the men's bobsleigh races yesterday, so there could be a lot of changing around in this second heat.
Well, the track gets very cut up really quickly, so the teams that go early really have the better ice to work with, and as you just said, some teams have a chance to move up 4 or 5 sleds.
First of our 20 sleds, the second and deciding heat in Winterberg, round 5 of the Viessmann Women's Bobsleigh World Cup for 2013-14. And the first one is 30-year-old Victoria Olay from London, Jill Cook from Edinburgh, a former high jumper and former junior world champion as well, on the back of this GB2 sled.
Jillian Cook was a world champion brakeman in 2009 when her and her teammate Nicola Minicello from Great Britain won the world championships in Lake Placid in 2009, and Minicello's now coaching the Dutch team. Cook, a great track and field athlete. We're going to be talking to you about all the track and field athletes that are in the back of these sleds, and in the Russian case, they have a silver medalist from the African Games driving the sled.
Yeah, that's quite unique, but a lot of teams have put in some real track and Olympic and World Championship stars.
Well, Victoria's challenge is keeping the sled straight right here, watch. Late, second time in a row, she's flopped off the exit of Kreisel. Here we go into curve 9. This is the pivotal part of the track where, the danger, and it's like the graveyard of time, and this track is between 9 and 10.
Well, she's completed 2 seasons of driving so far, in year 3 now, and only occasional appearances in the World Cup level, the top tier of sliding.
She's quicker in this heat. than her first heat. So, but she's got that great ice to work with. In the first run, she came down 15 to 20. Here she's the first person down. She's got 2 kilometers better speed to the finish. Got to the tracks perfectly, you know, been spritzed. Look at how high she is there. Watch the sled come down. Now watch it come back up in the outlet. Now watch what happens to it when it comes off the exit. It flops. That's called coming off late, but she didn't make the mistake on the exit. She made the mistake on the entrance.
Well, she wasn't very happy with her first run. She'll be a lot happier with that. That was much tidier than her first trip down. Next up, for Romania, Maria Constantin and Angia Grecu, 2 very young athletes. Constantin, the driver, just 22. Angia Grecu, only just 21. Well, they're coached by Paul Niargu behind.
Romanian athlete.
Well, his son is lying 3rd in the Europa Cup, the 2nd tier of sliding, ahead of Manuel Mahata, one of Germany's top athletes.
Yeah, his son shows some promise. Niargu moved here from Romania in the early 90s and gives bobsled rides and tours, and of course he grew a family here, and his son's got some promise. Romania used to be a power in the sport. Their last World Championship medal, 1969. Panturo and Lake Placid, a bronze medal. And before that, the Romanians had, you know, a good presence in the sport. Way back in the 30s and 40s, the Romanians also medaled at different world championships and events. So it's good to see the Romanian athletes still here, still competing, don't have as much equipment, money to work with, but you wouldn't know it the way they walk around the top of that track.
A little bit of a flop off the end there. Vicky Ole, the current leader, shown at the top in red. Maria Constantin's time. That means she's behind on pace.
Not the speed the British sled had either.
No, kilometre an hour down, and she slips a place to 20th place. So Vicky Ole and Jill Cook pick up a spot. And you always see the smiles when they stay in the leader's box, John, and jump up a little bit.
And where you finish in the World Cup standings determines where you start at the Olympic Games. And everybody's out shooting for the athlete in front of them. Couple of them in front of them, the points are close. So there's a personal best attitude. Look at the skid here in the Kreisel. People are out looking for their personal best, and they're looking to knock off the athlete right in front of them in World Cup standings. You're gonna see a lot of this picture, curve 9, and well, she has a skid here. Watch this. This is how not to do it. Taps, look at the skid going sideways into 10, and at 78 miles an hour, it's not the way you wanna enter that curve 10.
What that means, incidentally, for Vicky Ole is she's just jumped teammate Misha McNeil into the 2nd GB spot, which could be very important. Anastasia Tambov-Seva, yeah, of Russia, with Yulia Timofeeva, again, 2 track stars, but they didn't have the speed at the start first time, and that wasn't an anomaly. That's not a speedy getaway at all.
I don't understand this Russian athlete who's got a luge background, just doesn't have the start. She's got good drive lines, but you can't have the deficiency at the start, especially with the athleticism of the top sleds. You don't have any start time on this track. No chance at the bottom.
Even on the real drivers' tracks, and Samaritz next week is one of those, losing so much time at the start, it's like running with your shoelaces tied together.
Yeah, you have a little bit more chance at Samaritz at 1,600 meters compared to this being 1,300 meters. Now this is showing you this driver has got good drive line. She's in the lead. She overcame the deficiency. She's got better equipment, better driving skills, and she'll be the leader at the bottom, and you expect it. When all the money's been poured into that Russian program, you would expect her to be not in 17th place, down in 10th or 12th. But with the deficiency of the start, there's not much more you can do on a short 1,300-meter track like Winterberg.
Anastasia Tambov-Seva of Russia takes the lead with 3 of our 17 sleds safely down the hill.
The start. She's almost pushing into the sled. Look at her get in, get down. Look at the brakeman's legs still coming up. Should have her arms locked there.
Tambov-Seva 31, already been to 3 winter games. Now, we talked about Romania having big history in this sport. Belgium used to as well. And this young rookie, Anne van Neuwenhuizen, just talked to her before the 2nd heat. She was thrilled to make the cut in her first World Cup race. She said, I don't care what happens now.
Awesome first run. What a debut. They don't get great starts. They are not very big, either one of them. But boy, did she have some great drive lines down the track. Great speed, too. She's an economics student. He knows her.
And you see a lot of black, red and gold Belgian flags here. Lots of people with black, red and gold stripe face paint. The Belgian Bullets, they've now got 2 teams. Of course, we're very close to the Low Countries here in this part of the Ruhr Valley. Just a couple of hours drive from Belgium. So there's a lot of fans.
Ooh, that's late there. She's got an athletics background of 400 meters, and her favorite athlete, Hannah Mary, and her teammate, who's coming up later in the Belgian #1 sled, who's, world-class 400-meter athlete.
Just in front of Anastasia Tambov-Seva. She's giving away a decade of ice sliding experience to the Russian.
Back.
And it's all getting very loose at the bottom now. She needs to not panic. Final corner. She's safe, she's down, she's completed
Lost
it.
a couple of places.
19th place, she'll be no worse on her World Cup debut.
Still a great run.
Absolutely.
Not a great performance. The second run was nowhere near how good she was in the first run.
It was a fraction quicker, but you're right, it was much wilder, wasn't it? That was a little worrying for their teammate, just for a moment or two.
Yeah, well, Belgian, 2 teams here. Watch this, how high she gets here. She's way above the runner marks. That's not the way you want to look at this 13, 14. And most people come out, hit the wall, our left hard. She doesn't. But that sled was a little late going there. She lost a lot of speed at the bottom.
That's where the brakeman feels her backside is higher than her head. Next up, in the green Australian sled, Astrid Radjanovic and Jana Pittman. Astrid, veterinarian, originally from New South Wales, now lives in Queensland and Serbia, married to Serb driver Vuk Radjanovic. Jana Pittman, sprinter and mum.
World class.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of track and field athletes. There's going to be 7, 8 sleds. We talk about world champions in the Olympic medalists, world champions as brakemen. It's really impressive how many world-class track and field athletes have crossed over into bobsled in the last 4 years.
Jana Pittman looking at taking over the reins as a driver, as Astrid calls it a day at the end of this season, win, lose or draw. Jana's going to have to create a new team around herself.
Tough week for Astrid. She lost her dog and said she was pretty bummed out. It wasn't there for what happened the last couple of weeks. And again, I didn't know she was a vet until she told me.
Oh! And corner 9 claims another victim. Now, one of the anomalies of this track
could come back up right here.
Exactly so.
There it
you
goes.
Get flipped back onto your runners if you hang on long enough. And Jana Pittman looks pretty banged up.
Now
She gets her head back up. She was just sheltering in the sled. She's not a short athlete, Jana. As their reserve brakewoman.
Curve 9 has got the best of the United States bobsled team this week. All 3 4-man sleds have tipped over there, including World Cup leader Steve Holcomb. Yesterday's race, after the first run, he was in 2nd place, tipped over there. Curve 9 is the pivotal part of this track. I call it the graveyard of time, but sometimes it just is. Lights are out. Now watch their entry. Goes up high. Sled's got to come back down. Now it comes back up, and she doesn't make the adjustment to get it off the curve. And she was saying, I'm not going to steer. I'm going to get off the curve on my own balance. And this is where she just doesn't, gets it up in the wood. She hit the wood.
Yeah.
That's what caused her. She couldn't even steer off there. And watch these pictures. Hello. Wow.
Yeah. It's a pretty brutal ride, bearing in mind they're doing 75, 80 miles an hour on their heads.
Years ago, they wouldn't come up.
Yeah.
Boy, they didn't take them long to start. Look at this.
Jennifer
Clear the track.
Cacchetti of Canada with Chelsea Valois behind her. Cacchetti, a former brakewoman, returned from driving to win the World Championship 2012, pushing Kaylee Humphries, and then continued her racing career. And another ex-Kaylee Humphries brakeman behind her. Chelsea Valois was a rookie last year. Sensational season with Humphries.
Canadians just keep bringing great athletes to the mix. When you have a world champion brakeman, Jennifer Cacchetti, in 2012 with Humphries, now she's driving a sled a couple years later here in the World Cup and will be at the Olympic Games. It tells you another step that these athletes take from the back seat to the front seat. We have 4 or 5 athletes like Cacchetti coming up who were in the back seat and have made that transition, including Grubel, who's leading, and the second place sled, Schneiderheinz. She was an Olympic gold medalist as a brakeman with Curiasis in 2006.
And of course, even Kaylee Humphreys started as a brakewoman, yeah.
58.10.
Bye-bye time starter on the right.
Boy,
she's men looking pretty happy with that.
6:57 better in the second run. So only 2 drivers in the field wearing goggles. This is one of them. Her teammate, Kaylee Humphreys, coming up's the other. Cicchetti, Jennifer, great run. 5/6 better. Here's the top of the track. You have to be quiet. Look at her trying to sneak through there, but she can't. She hits. That's a mistake. What type of energy to the left side of our screen do we see here? Hit, that's not bad.
Straightened her up, little tap. There's Chelsea behind her.
That's a great second run. That could move her up a couple places.
Jennifer Cicchetti of Canada is our race leader. We've already had 5 of our sleds down, 15 still to come. Christina Hengster of Austria with brand new brakewoman Viola Kleiser behind her. Another new name. Another John Morgan headshot there this weekend.
Well, the Austrians keep trying to improve her start time, 5:81. You know, the start time is her nemesis. She's the 19th best start. Look how low her profile is. She's tall, she's 5'10", and look how low she gets on the sled. So that's some good training, teaching by the Austrians. That's not good training there out of curve 4. That little skid from left to right, that tap before 5. She's 1,300s down. She's got the best speed. Slingshot effect here at the bottom, right here in the Kreisel. That's perfect. And she should start eating into that deficit. As soon as I said that, she tapped the wrong wall. Needs to be perfect here. Only chance is huge speed at the bottom.
Well, with an Austrian-built sled, it should be good
run
for
out of
speed.
track.
1:27.7 is not bad, but it's not going to be enough to take the lead.
No, second best time to run. So Jennifer Cicchetti, she had some awesome second runs.
Yes, she did. No wonder she's smiling.
Yeah.
And again for Jen, she's looking to move up the World Cup rankings.
Christina Hengster, she'll do better next week in St. Moritz when it's a lot longer track. And she gets to her home track in Eagles where she's medaled before. But here's the mistake, 8-9. Look at it, she's down the wrong side of the straightaway. Now she's got to steer to get over. And you got to steer again. And curve 9, we all know what it did to the Australian sled. She corrected well though. That was pretty good there, but ran out of track.
2011 Junior World Champion, still only 27 years old. Lots of potential still to be tapped in that woman. Next up, the babyface destroyer, Paula Walker and Big Bex Wilson. This is GB1. Misha McNeil, the GB3 sled, did not get through. They crashed out again in corner 9 in the first heat. Let's see if Paula Walker can produce a good second heat. Very disappointed, I think, with the first, only 13th place.
Here's our 6-foot driver and our 5'2" brakeman. Usually it's the other way around. Walker, the tallest female driver in the field. Look how low she gets. 5.66 is not a bad start, but she had a decent start to speed in the left, 61.3. We'll start referencing that. You have a choice. You get the best start or the best velocity at curve 1. You want the best velocity. That's how you get in the sled and settle down and take advantage of every speed that Mother Nature's going to offer you now with gravity on this short track, which is very slow up top. You almost go uphill in a couple sections up top.
This is a little better looking run. Some sun there on the Kreisel. Oh, and coming into our window of our booth. What's that all about? Well, Paula Walker, 7th quickest start in the first heat, only 13th. Let's see if she can improve
much
on
better,
that.
much better 9 to 10 than the first run. Much better heat for Paula Walker. Speed, decent.
Oh, not great though.
Not great. She should be the leader. Could be single digits. Yeah, 600s.
Jennifer
Cicchetti, it's okay. Chelsea Valois, they moved up a couple spots.
Yeah. That may not move Paula Walker up too far. Again, I don't think she'll be overjoyed with that.
She's a top 10 athlete in the first seed, so this is not where she wants.
Crashed out of silver medal contention last year.
There it is. Look at that skid into Kreisel, where the speeds are slow, then into Look at this, her Kreisel line. She's above those blue lines. And watch the exit here. She's gonna have to have the clean exit on the slingshot effect on the bottom, and her mistake was on the entrance to Kreisel.
Yeah. Couple of errors creeping in, blunted her speed at the bottom. Next up is Olga Stulneva of Russia. Ludmila Urubkina behind her. Second of our Russian athletes in the rankings. And the battle between Russia 2 and Russia 3 to get the spot looks like it's absolutely decided in Stulneva's favor.
Sure, start time. Look at, she's got a 5:63. You know, she's an Olympic track and field silver medalist from the Athens Olympics. She was brakeman from 2006 to 10. The Russians ordered her into the front seat. This is what you expect the Russians to take all the fantastic athletes in their country and put people like this in the front seat. She's still young, Martin. She still has she could go right through to Pyeongchang, and eventually this girl will start getting on the podium because of her start time. She still doesn't have the great eyes and hands, but that will come with time.
18th in the Olympic Games in Vancouver, should be a top 10 potential in Sochi, maybe even a little better, Stulneva.
These are good lines. She's starting to pull away now. She had a little bit of a doldrum in the middle part of the track. Now she is pulling away. Speed 1:27.8. One of the better speeds as the sun breaks out onto the finish curve. Second best time of the run, 58.11. 2,700 lead. That tells you how fast Jennifer Cicchetti went. She had the fastest time of the run. If she would have done that in the first heat, she'd be in the top 10. So the Russians take over the lead, but you would expect that. This is a top 10 athlete with that start time.
But she was only 12th place in the first heat. That is the top woman from Russia.
Watch the athleticism, watch this step, watch her get in and get down. This is where a little bit of a gymnast move. Not easy getting in these tiny bathtubs, even for the girls who are a little smaller than some of the huge men we'll see coming up later today.
Olga Stulneva of Russia, our race leader. Next up, Kathleen Martini, twice a winner here in the last 4 years. And going on her law of alternate year wins, this should be her year, but from 11th, no chance of that happening with Kristen Senkel behind her.
That start time was so deficient, 4:75, tap there, but she's a great driver. And but I tell you this, she was the first person down the track. There could have been frost in that groove, and she could have been the guinea pigger. Although there was 4 pilot sleds that went down before her, she could still been at a disadvantage. She does not belong back in 11th place. This is a girl who won the event 2 of the 3 previous years.
Yep.
So I would expect her, that +5, relevant to the start time deficiency to the Russians. I would expect her to have a clean line here. Perfect. How does she tap? Yep, ooh, that's a mistake. 11-9, speed's good. Needs perfect. Might need 128 kilometer speed in the bottom to overtake the Russian.
She might struggle.
No matter what, this is very disappointing.
Ooh.
There's the speed. She should have enough. Should be right to the 100th of a second. Oh! That's a big deal. That might be the first time that she's ever beat Martini.
Yeah, I would think that's
the Russian.
absolutely the first time.
Olga Stulneva, I mean, this is disappointment, big time, for one of the top Russian pilots, or top German pilots, and one of the top female pilots in the world in the last 6 years. Look at her. I mean, the body language. Kathleen Martini, boy, she can't wait to get to St. Moritz. Speed in the bottom part of the track. Well, she had it, but she gave up so much time to the Russian sleds. That's why she fell behind by the slimmest of margins, 100th of a second. And
she's had 2 wins and 4 podium finishes in the last 6 years. Kathleen Martini in second place to Olga Stulneva of Russia, with 10 sleds still to come in Winterberg. Lots more sliding here in Winterberg in Germany. Final 10 sleds in our second heat, round 5 of the Viessmann FIBT Women's Bobsleigh World Cup. And in 10th place after the first of our 2 heats, Fabienne Meyer of Switzerland, with Tanja Meyer, the heptathlete, new brakewoman behind, the 2008 Junior World Champion. Our leaders there, Stulneva on the right and Urubkina, her brakewoman, on the left. Number 1 Russian sled looking to break into the top 10. The Swiss looking to stop them. This is the second best Swiss sled, John Morgan.
Meyer and Meyer, although one spells it with an E. Tanja Meyer, the brakeman's debut, she's a heptathlete, competed in the European Championships, It's her first event, and there's a big race going on between the Swiss sled now and the one coming up. They're separated by 100th of a second. There's a big race within a race in regards to who's going to be Swiss one. A lot of prestige and sponsorship related to that as we head into the Olympic Games. And trust me, these two girls are really more focused on each other than they are the podium.
Well, there's 60 points in the World Cup rankings between the two Swiss teams. So if one fails to finish and the other one scores anywhere in the top 15,
that's not a good line.
That'll turn around.
Curve 9, a lot of adjustment. She's got a big lead here, but she's not worried about the sleds below her. She's after the Swiss sled coming up right next, 2300s, 127.8. Not the best speed, but good enough to take the lead. Ducks her head for aerodynamics for the last 10 meters, and the Russians wave. And the Swiss know that they've got at least one sled in the top 10 no matter what.
Yep, that is the best run of the heat so far. A little quicker than her first effort as well, but still a couple of major mistakes. You heard her say to her teammate, not happy with that run.
Well, she's a great driver. She gives up time at the start. Junior world champion. And everybody thought this would be the driver that the Swiss would break through into women's bob. She's won a couple podiums, got on a podium at least once, if not twice, in St. Moritz, her home track. Great driver, gives up time at the start, and now she has to rely with that deficiency on perfect drives down the track. She just admitted she didn't have that. Whether or not she has a chance to beat her teammate, here it comes.
Well, here is Caroline Spani, the #1 Swiss pilot this season. Elisabeth Graf behind her. Spani, junior world champion, breaking for Sabine Hafner in 2011. And now in 2014, she is driving as the lead Swiss driver. And part of that, John, is the first 5 seconds.
Yeah, Spani and Meyer both get start times. 10 and 11, both of them were at the start. So this should be pretty equal to Meyer. Just came down 564. So she got a 400s lead. 300s better start than her teammate. Better, very good velocity, 61.4. And Spani, to be honest with you, has driven a better sled. I've been more impressed with Spani than Meyer. Meyer's sort of neutral. Spani, every race seems to come out with better drive lines and seems to come down the track every time with a good heat. 900s the lead's up to now. And again, there's a big, big race within a race here between the Swiss sled at the bottom and this one here.
Caroline Spani with the advantage at the moment.
Good speed.
1/10 of a second.
Good lines. Boy, she got through there as good as anybody. Curve 9 to 10. And watch how violent the hit is here out of 13. Not bad. Speed, 128.5. As good as speed.
Advantage.
She'll be the leader.
2/10 up at the line, not 100th. That's a big lead, a big step forward. Coach Eric Allard has both his women in the top 10. No wonder he's happy.
Caroline Spani continues to improve. Watch out for her next week at St. Moritz. She has a chance, I think, to go out and win her first medal.
Those Swiss-built City of sleds, very individual look to them. They were built for the speed of Vancouver. They still work well.
Look at the lines. The brakeman's head buried in there perfectly for aerodynamics. Look at the speed. After Kreisel, slingshot effect on the bottom part of the track. On this point right here, her and her teammate both had the best speed, and they're both good drivers. They lack at the start. That's the only reason they aren't challenging for medals.
Switzerland 1 and 2 here in Winterberg. Well, next up, lots of bated breath for the Belgian team. The Belgian Bullets, Elfie Willemsen and Hannah Marion. Their rookie teammates made the top 20 and picked up spots in the second heat. Let's see if the Belgians can advance further up the top 10.
Another world-class track and field athlete in the back of the sled, Hannah Marion. And no one had a better speed at the bottom part of the track than Elfie Willemsen. But her nemesis is the start. It's unbelievable that she can be in this position with the 19th best start in the first run, and she's 8th. But she needs to do that every heat to stay in the top 10 with that deficiency. But look, she comes right down the middle of the track there. Not everybody's done that.
She had a really clean drive, John. That was the big secret. If you don't hit stuff, you carry the speed down the track. And her gap was out to 2/10. It's now shortening. She is closing.
Down to 8, best speed. Watch the line here, perfect.
129.9 in the first heat. What she got this time?
This looks like good speed again. It's down to 100, 130. Best speed of anybody today.
That is unbelievable. 57.84. She took the lead in the final corner.
pretty amazing.
Lots of very happy Belgians. Listen to them.
19th best start in the first run. She's 8th. And I just can't believe she could pick up all that speed on this bottom part of this very short 1,300-meter track. I'm impressed. The lines, look at this. We'll get this replay again. That's perfect. She was so quiet off the exit of the curve. Watch here. There's a lot of violence that usually comes over here on the left side of our screen. Look at the speed difference, Mark.
Well, John?
It's just really, she's driving the Latvian sled.
She is in a group of 6 sleds covered by just over 1/10 of a second. She could pick up 2, 3, maybe even 4 spots. First to try and hold her off is a fellow low country slider, Esme Campers from the Netherlands. Judith Vist back in the #1 Belgian Netherlands spot, right behind the 30-year-old doctor.
A lot of media here from the Netherlands. This is the home track for the Dutch, the men's team in 2 races. Nothing that they want to talk about. So they're hoping for some good performance here from Dr. Campos. Big race-off in the Christmas break, too, to determine who the brakemen were. They had 3 good brakemen. One of them got sent home. She was on tour in the first part of the season. That generated a lot of media. Campos, she's got a huge lead here, but remember, the Belgian bullet was flying on the bottom part of the track.
Yeah, it's below the Kreisel where we've just left. The Belgians really came in, not as quick as the Belgian sled.
And that's a rough exit of 9. She's going to have 129 speed to have a chance. This is going to get close. Down to 4.
Oh, and a heavy flop
Doesn't have the speed. I got to believe the Belgians are going to win.
They're going to move up. Elfie Willemsen stays in the lead. Her career high, a 7th place last time out in Lake Placid. They are matching that.
Shocking. She beat Kathleen Martini. That blows me away on a German track.
Yeah.
This, that her mistakes up top, exit of Kreisel, wasn't as smooth as the Belgian sled. Didn't carry the speed, but no one's carried the speed the Belgian sled. Look at her, how high she gets here. Remember, the Belgian sled was through quickly into the out of that curve. Visually, I can see that better than anybody, but watch the violence here. How hard does she come over? Yeah, she almost drives that over into the wall compared to the Belgian sled came over and just brushed it. Boy, Elfie Willemsen has taught me something.
Next target for Elfie Willemsen of Belgium, and a career best will be Jasmine Fenlays, the 28-year-old from Ewing, New Jersey, and Miami, Florida's sprint Olympic champion, Lauren Williams, new to this U.S. team.
Well, Lauren Williams, great track and field athlete, London Olympic Games for the U.S., diminutive in size, 5:59 start.
What a start.
That propels Jasmine 300s better, 61.4, good velocity. Now, Jasmine needs to move up, clean up her run. She wasn't very clean up top of the track last time, and watch these lines. Coming up right here, next curve, watch, she needs to be in the middle. Nope, there's the same thing, that little tap. Doesn't sound like much, doesn't look like much. Trust me, dealing with hundredths of seconds, it is.
Cost her a 10th of a second.
That wasn't a good line either. There she dove in the second part of that Kreisel.
Waving through the Kreisel. She was 5 hundredths ahead of the Belgians.
No way.
She is only 5 hundredths ahead of the Belgians. If she doesn't hit 130 kilometers an hour,
she's
she
no
will
chance.
lose a place.
She's got no chance here. All her time was lost, and that's a late line there. She's going to beat Jasmine Fenlays here, too.
This will be a career best for Elfie Willemsen, and Fenlays nearly rolls it off the final corner. Top 6 for Belgium, and this, of course, is their home track as well.
They beat the Belgians by 21 hundredths at the start in one heat and got beat at the bottom. That tells you how good Willemsen was, or how poor of a drive down the track for Jasmine was there. But again, this Winterberg track isn't something she's got a tremendous amount of experience on.
Wasn't a top draw effort.
Great start. Here's where it started going bad. Look how high she gets on the line. Look at that dive right there. Watch the sled, the nose. Watch it dive down right here. See that? That's a lot of steering. Look how low she is in the marks. Now she's got to go back up. Lost all her energy, momentum right there in that slow part of the entrance to the Kreisel.
Well, John, before the beginning of this race, we said there may be changes in the top half dozen. 5 sleds to go here in Winterberg, Germany. The USA's Alana Myers, our World Cup leader, with 2 wins in Salt Lake City, Utah under her belt. Alana from Georgia has got to try and hold her place.
Brakeman Lolo Jones. This might be Lolo Jones' Olympic tryout right here. First time she slid with Alana Myers this year. 5.64 in the first run. 5th best time. She should be prove on that.
Yeah, they didn't have a great start.
52.
That's 100th away from the track record.
That's 1200ths better. How do you figure that out?
Well, Lolo stumbled 3 times in their first start.
That was unbelievable. To go 5.64 to 5.52, that tells you why she was in 5th place here to the first run. She's done no worse than 2nd in every race this year. She's won twice. The huge lead, as you would expect with that superior start time. Boy, bobsledding's about consistency. If you come out with 1.8.564, you would expect to be 5.63 or better. The 5.64 to 5.52 tells you you must have made a major mistake in the first run, in the first 50 meters of the start.
6/10 up, 5700s, hard hit, 128.8, good speed, but not the speed that the Belgians had.
Pretty rough ride,
57.52. Top 6 guaranteed for Belgium.
Really impressive with that start for Lolo Jones. There's 5 great female athletes vying for 3 spots on the U.S. Olympic women's bobsled team. I wouldn't want to be any one of the American coaches to select that team because all the athletes are deserving to be there, and they're all competing really against each other. But boy, that was first heat wasn't impressive for Lolo, but the second heat, look at her explode out of here.
Redemption for Lolo Jones, John. 3 stumbles in the first heat. Her spike slid 3 times, I heard from the coaches.
Well, this heat, this is what you expect out of an athlete with Lolo Jones' world-class abilities. You know, Alana Myers, you might have one of the best in the world. Her and Kelly Humphreys in the front seat as an athlete. But, hey, what an improvement.
Anyone who can match up to an athlete like Alana Myers on the front handles is doing a great job. Myers leads with 4 to go. Olympic and world champion Kaylee Humphreys next on the ice with world push champion and rugby playing monster Heather Moyse. Heather is so understated. She doesn't look like a big physical presence, but her speed on the ice is unbelievable.
She's got some power from those hips down. You wouldn't look at her. She's not that big of an athlete, but boy, could she push a bobsled. They set the track record in the first heat of 5.51, 5.52. They're the same as Alana Myers and Lolo Jones. The start speed, though, 61.7, excellent. That's how they got in the sled. Humphreys did not have a very good first run, and that's not a good sign. Only 200ths there. Watch this, she's straight here. Ooh, big hit there.
Don't forget, she was only 200ths quicker than our leader, Alana Myers, from the first heat.
She's going to have a chance to be clean on the bottom and get Myers, because Myers wasn't perfect, but that's not good. She tapped there. 14, way back. Now it's a question, how much? She's got to stay within the top 2. I can't see she's falling behind the Belgian sled. She might.
Oh, that's good. 128.4. A whisker slower than Alana Myers.
She's going to fall back 3 places. No, only 1 spot.
Alana Myers on the right, Lolo Jones on the left. Well, that's a little more comfortable.
Well, the start time for Alana Myers put her in this position. Her and Lolo figured that out. But then, Kaylee Humphreys, 2 trips weren't very good down the track.
Yeah.
Both trips, and she'll be the first one to tell you that. Goggles off. She's one of the 2 athletes in the field with goggles. And
not looking best pleased with that run, I'm afraid.
just watch it here. This is where you have to be quiet with the steering. Watch the left side of her screen. She comes in, hits that little expansion joint hard there. All of a sudden, she went from minus to red pretty quickly.
There's ice sticking out the wall there. That's like a break.
Yeah.
So 3 sleds to go. It is Alana Myers, the World Cup points leader, who is leading the race at the moment. 2 chances for Germany to overturn her. Sandra Kyriasis with new break woman Franziska Fritz, 39 years old yesterday. Can Sandra take gold or any medal as a late birthday present?
This is like a pre-Olympic run here. She's 39 years old. She's the best driver in the field in the first run. 10th best start. Speed, she's got 7/10 of a kilometer down, or 5/10 of a kilometer down to the top American sled at the bottom. But she drove the sled as good as anybody. She has to overcome this deficit. With clean lines, she can. Right here coming up. In the middle. Yes. This is what she's going to start to do. Watch her line into Kreisel now. She's got it down to 17. Watch the line at Kreisel. Is it perfect? Now watch the exit. Is she down the middle? Ooh, a little tap there. And she tapped there again, too. She's got it down to 10. She needs to be absolutely perfect. Needs to have 129+ kilometer speed to overtake the American at the bottom. And these are clean lines. It's going to be close.
500ths of a second. She
Right
hasn't got the speed of the Belgians, but will she be in the lead?
100.
Yes! She guarantees herself a medal. The Americans may still be on the podium, but Coach Crystal Flanagan is delighted with that. Happy birthday for yesterday, Sandra Kiriasis.
You're going to see the same thing at the Olympics. She's not the top athlete pusher that the other 4 or 5 athletes are, but she's the best driver. So she wants to be in this position at the Olympics. Post the time, get in the leader's box, and watch everybody else try and match her time.
They found an extra 700s at the start, John.
Look at the brakeman here. Brakeman looks like she slipped a little bit there.
Yeah, could have been quicker.
Yeah, well, she struggles at the start. She's 39 years old. She is the most successful pilot ever, but this was an uncharacteristic mistake on the exit of Kreisel. And then into 9 here, watch her bang again. So her mistake wasn't made on 8 to 9. It was made on 7 to 8. But she's, 100th of a second. She beat out Myers. And there's still a chance for her to win this event.
Battle is on for the podium positions then. Anja Schneider-Heinze and Stephanie Schneider. Schneider-Heinze took bronze last year, silver the 2 previous years on this track. Can she stay in the medals for Germany? We had a German 1-2 in the men's race in the 4-man yesterday.
This is the best athlete in the front seat for the Germans. Schneider-Heinze, the gold medalist from the 2006 games with Sandra Kiriasis. She was a brakeman then. She's made this transition. This might be the biggest heat of her career. If she throws down a big heat, beats Kiriasis at the bottom, and then hopefully Grubel stumbles, she could win and really gain a lot of press and media from the German media who are just looking for a good story about the women's bobsledding in Germany, because the Germans haven't won a medal yet this year in women's bobsled.
Last 6 years, Martini has won twice, Kiriasis has won twice. Schneider-Heinze has medals, but not a win yet.
These are good lines. These are perfect lines, but it's only down to 800ths. I don't think this is enough.
She's got to be absolutely perfect here. Kiriasis had 129 kilometers an hour at the bottom.
She could fall back 2 places here. Speed not as good. She could fall back 2 places.
Behind Myers, yes, into 3rd. Alana Myers is in the podium. Sandra will get a silver at least. May get win number 3.
Well, I'll tell you, Kiriasis, just remember this event now and the Olympic Games. This is what's going to happen. Kiriasis is going to get in the medal position and wait for everybody else to come and match her. She won the Olympic test in Sochi last year, only a 2-heat race, and a 4-heat race, a little bit different personality. Here in the finish, real hard hit. This is where she lost a lot of time. She had already lost time coming into that curve, but boy, with that start time and that, Schneider-Heinze should have won.
Schneider-Heinze is going to be out of the medals potentially. Sandra Kiriasis on her home track leads with just 1 sled to go. Jamie Grubel, 30-year-old from Newtown, Pennsylvania, and 25-year-old Chicago sprint star Asia Evans. USA going for gold.
She's medaled in every event yet this year. Grubel, track and field athlete from Cornell University, coming off knee surgery last year. She's starting to come into her own. Biggest heat of her competitive life. 5:57, 200s better. Speed to the left, 61.6, 61.5. Not the speed I thought they'd have with that type of start. She's only got 700s over Kiriasis, and Kiriasis was fast to the bottom part of the track. That's a quarter-second time, but they can throw that away here with a mistake in curve 4 or 5. Ooh, right there. First mistake. She can get away with no more of those. It's down to 18. Speed, not as good as Kiriasis. Needs to be perfect here in this exit.
She's very close. As you said, she's been silver and bronze medals every race this year. Will she stay on the podium? Can she beat out her teammate Alana Myers? Jamie Grubel still in the lead now. She drops back behind Sandra Kyriasis. Kyriasis is going to win this 129.1. Great speed from Grubel. It's not over yet. Oh, 1100's back. She drops to 4th place. Out of the lead to 4th. Out of the medals. Kyriasis wins. Happy birthday for Sandra Kyriasis. 39 years old. She wins again. Her 3rd win in 7 years on her home ice in Winterberg. And Jamie Grubel couldn't find the gold medal drive that she needed the 2nd run down. Tears for Kyriasis with her brakewoman Franziska Fritz. René Spies there and Matthias Höpfner behind go to offer their congratulations. And for Jamie, her day will come. Commiserations from Lolo Jones there and Alana Myers before. Ah, yes. The Ice Maiden? I don't think so. She's hard on the ice. She's so hard to beat. She doesn't know how to spell lose. Sandra Kyriasis pulls it out again. 3rd in the first heat, 700s off the lead. There was always the chance, and she doesn't need more than half a chance. I don't think it's Sandra that's not worthy. She wins by 100th of a second from our World Cup leader, Alana Myers. She continues her medal run. Anja Schneider-Heinze does continue her medal run here as well. Bronze for the 2nd German sled. Well, drama at the end of this 2nd heat. We'll hear from our top 3 after this. Whoa, got to get your breath back after a finish like that. Sandra Kyriasis, within a couple of tenths here, is always a contender. Within a 1/10 of a second of the lead on her home track in Winterberg. She's going to give you the run of your life, and so she did. Jamie Grubel in the far distance, heading to the changing rooms, and the German fans already going for a Glühwein. They'll be very happy with that. And Kyriasis herself, 39th birthday yesterday. She was watching the action from the men's race, and now today she goes out and claims a gold medal. Great effort from her and Franziska Franz. They pulled out a 700th of a second better 2nd getaway. They really knew the pressure was on. The BMW sleds finishing 2nd with Alana Myers, 4th with Jamie Grubel. Jasmine Fenlater slipping a couple of spots down to 9th position by the end, but again, the US women really strong in the World Cup rankings. Alana Myers will retain her World Cup lead from Kaylee Humphries, Jamie Grubel, Kathleen Martini. Sandra Kyriasis, her best result so far this season was 4th place. That was in the 2nd of the women's races in Salt Lake City. So she is down in 6th in the World Cup rankings. But coming here, although she was born in Eastern Germany, close to the Altenburg track, she's made Winterberg her home for the last decade. And the emotion is very evident, isn't it? And among the thoughts in her mind at the top of the hill, going on that 2nd run might well have been, this is the last time I'm ever going to do this. Let's make it the best. There's no confirmation yet that Kyriasis will retire after Sochi, should she go, which seems likely. But at 39 years old, hard to imagine her wanting to go until she's 43 for Pyeongchang. And if that's her last competitive slide in Winterberg, boy, she gave the home fans some entertainment. Welcome back to Winterberg, Germany, where Alana Myers retains her World Cup lead from world champion Kaylee Humphries. Jamie Grubel stays 3rd. Kyriasis jumps from 6th to 4th, ahead of Kathleen Martini. And there are the other slight changes. Victoria Ole moving ahead of Misha McNeil in GB2's battle with GB3. Well, Sandra Kyriasis may have been the final time on this track as a competitor, and it was one of her top draw efforts. The flower ceremony has been handed out. Kyriasis again showing world-class grit and determination. 700ths off the lead in Heat 1. Her winning run was a joy to behold. It may well have been her last ever drive here in Winterberg as an athlete, as a competitor. And a sip of the Veltins, not for the first time, but possibly for the last. She's now won on this track 4 times in the last 7 seasons. And again, after slightly off-kilter first start, they really gelled on the second. Franziska Fritz behind her got a 0.07 of a second better start. And Sandra drove well. A tap in corner 1 was the major mistake. Christoph Langen, the coach, knows what it takes to win, and he recognises talent just like the German fans. An emotional send-off, perhaps, for Sandra Kyriasis in what looks likely to be her last ever bobsleigh race here in Winterberg. Well, let's get down and hear what she and the other podium finishers thought of it with our man John Morgan.
Anya, your first medal for the season. Very tight competition.
Yeah, I'm so happy. It was so important for me. I need to qualify for the Olympic, and this was the first step for the Olympic Games.
Well, congratulations. Great race from both of you. Now over to our second place team. Lolo Jones and Ilana Myers. Can I ask you a little bit about the first run? You had a 5:64 start, and the second run a 5:52.
We like to live on the edge, keep everybody on the edge of their seats. We had a little slip up at the beginning of the first run. I didn't run further enough, and she followed me, so it caused us to drop some time, but we came back the second one.
Pretty impressive second heat. Congratulations on the silver medal for both of you. Now to Sandra Kyriasis. Wow. 2 good drives?
No, not really. But I'm happy.
You're relieved. This was a big competition for you.
It was es war eine sehr wichtige.
Congratulations. Enjoy the moment.
A very, very emotional Sandra Kyriasis. Perhaps her first win of the season is overshadowed by the fact that this is likely to be her last drive here on her home ice in front of her home fans in Winterberg, Germany. Well, what a dramatic finish to that race. We still have one more set of action to go here from Winterberg. Men's 4-man second race coming up. Join John Morgan and me for all of that. Thanks to John for his words in the booth, to the interviews, to the rest of the FIBT TV crew as well. And thanks to you for joining us. We'll be back with more action soon from Winterberg.